There are things you know you should deal with, but you keep leaving them there, day after day. Not because you're lazy, but because you know once you touch them, it's going to feel heavy. Especially when they're not your things. They belong to someone who's no longer here. Every item isn't just clothes. It's a memory you're not ready to open again. This video isn't about decluttering fast or throwing things away to feel lighter. I just want to go through this process honestly. How I face it, how I decide what to keep or let go, and what actually helps me not get stuck. If you have a corner like this you've been avoiding, maybe this will help you start. The hardest part wasn't starting, it was everything before that. I left the bags there for weeks, right next to my bed. I saw them every day and still didn't touch them. Not because I didn't have time, and not because I didn't know what to do, but because I knew exactly how it was going to feel. The moment I open that bag, it's not just clothes anymore. It's memories. It's moments. It's that wave hitting all over again. And that's the part people don't really talk about. Sometimes you're not stuck because you don't know how to declutter. You're stuck because you do know, and you're not ready to deal with what comes with it. So instead of waiting until I felt ready, I changed the rule. I didn't tell myself to finish anything. I didn't even tell myself to sort it properly. I just told myself, open one bag, that's it. And honestly, even that took effort. But once you do that one small step, something shifts. Not that it suddenly becomes easy, but it becomes real. You're no longer stuck in that avoidance loop. If you've been putting something like this off, don't aim to complete it. Just pick it up and open it. That's enough to begin. And once you do that, that's when the real process starts. Once I actually opened the bag, I realized pretty quickly this wasn't a normal decluttering session. It didn't matter that I've been doing this for years. It didn't matter that I already had systems, rules, experience. None of that really applied here, because this isn't about stuff. It's about what the stuff represents. When it's your own things, you can be practical. You can think in terms of space, function, lifestyle. But when it's tied to someone who's gone, every decision feels heavier than it should be. You're not just asking, do I need this? You're asking, what does it mean if I let this go? And that's where it gets complicated. Because logically, you know they're just objects. But emotionally, they feel like pieces of that person. So trying to push through it quickly or treating it like a normal declutter just doesn't work. You end up either freezing or keeping way more than you actually want to. What helped me was shifting the goal completely. I stopped trying to get through it or be efficient. Instead, I treated it as time to sit with whatever came up. Some items brought nothing, and that was easy. Some hit harder, and I let that happen without rushing it. You don't need to rush this process. You're not behind. You're not doing it wrong if it feels slow or messy. This is less about clearing space and more about reconnecting for a moment and then choosing how to move forward from there. And once I accepted that, I needed a way to actually make decisions without getting stuck in every single item. At some point, I realized I needed a rule. Not a perfect system, just something simple enough to keep me moving without overthinking every single piece. Because the moment you pause too long, your brain starts justifying everything. This is still good. I remember this. Maybe I'll keep it just in case. And suddenly, nothing leaves. So I kept it very strict. If it's not an immediate, clear yes, it's a no. A real yes feels obvious. You don't debate it. You don't need reasons. You just know you want to keep it. Everything else, even if it's kind of nice or has a small memory, I let it go. I also avoided trying things on, because the second you put something on, you start creating new attachment to it. It stops being about the person and becomes about how it looks on you, how it feels, whether you could use it. And that just makes the decision harder. This rule helped me move faster, but more importantly, it protected me from getting emotionally stuck on every item. I didn't have to think deeply about everything. I only had to notice one thing. Does this feel like a clear yes or not? And if it didn't, I trusted that letting it go didn't mean I was letting go of them. But even with that rule, there were still some things that didn't fit into yes or no at all. Even with a clear rule, there were pieces that just didn't land anywhere. They weren't a yes, but they definitely weren't a no either. This is where most people get stuck. You keep picking it up, putting it down, trying to force a decision you're not ready to make. For me, it was things like basic shirts, random pants, items that were still in good condition, but didn't feel meaningful enough to keep. Logically, they should be donated, but emotionally, there's still that hesitation, like this was theirs. Instead of overthinking it, I made it simple. If it's usable, in good condition, and not a clear yes for me, it goes to donation. No long debate. And for the ones that still feel unclear, I don't force it. I give them a third category, not now. I set those aside, separate from keep, and donate. Not hidden, not ignored, just paused so I can keep moving. Because the truth is, timing matters. Some decisions aren't hard because they're complicated. They're hard because you're not ready yet. You don't need to solve everything in one sitting. You can move through most of it and leave a small part for later, and that alone makes the process feel a lot lighter. But then there are moments where an item doesn't just slow you down, it brings everything back at once. Most of the time, you can stay in that rhythm, pick up, decide, move on. But then, there are a few items that completely break that flow. You pick something up, and suddenly you're not in the room anymore. You're back in a specific moment, a specific time. You remember exactly when they wore it, what was happening back then, how things felt. For me, it was things like the thermal pieces I bought when they were always cold, or certain everyday clothes I remember seeing all the time. Nothing special on the surface, but they carry very specific memories. And that's when it hits harder than expected. In those moments, trying to stay productive doesn't work. If you force yourself to keep going, you just get overwhelmed faster, and every next decision becomes heavier. So instead, I let myself pause, not for hours, not turning it into something bigger, but just enough to acknowledge what came up. Take a breath, put the item down, and step away if needed. You don't have to push through every emotional moment to prove you're strong. The goal isn't to finish fast, the goal is to get through it without shutting down. Sometimes you'll be able to keep going right after. Sometimes you won't, and both are fine, because once you accept that your pace is going to change, you stop fighting the process, and you start working with it. After a while, I had to accept that I wasn't going to finish everything in one go, and more importantly, I didn't need to. I got through a few bags, and I could already feel the emotional drop, not because it was done, but because it was enough for that moment. Before this, I would have pushed myself to keep going, finish it while I'm already in it, get it over with. But that mindset doesn't work here. It just drains you faster and makes the whole experience heavier than it needs to be. So I stopped at a point where I still felt okay, not completely exhausted, not completely shut down. That shift matters because it changes how you see the process. It's no longer something you have to survive in one sitting. It becomes something you can come back to. Even just clearing a few bags, making a few decisions, that's already movement. That's already progress. You don't need big visible results for this to count. The fact that you showed up and faced it even a little is already a step forward. And once I allowed myself to go at that pace, something else became clearer. Making decisions started to feel a bit lighter. One thing that made a bigger difference than I expected was deciding where the items would go before I kept going. Because a lot of the hesitation isn't about the item itself. It's the feeling of, what happens to this after I let it go? If it just disappears, it feels heavier. But when I decided clearly, these are going to a shelter, these are going somewhere they'll actually be used, the decisions got easier. Now it's not throwing away, it's passing it on. So for anything that was in good condition, still wearable, but not a clear yes for me, I didn't overthink it. It goes to donation. Someone else can use it. That's enough. That small shift removes a lot of guilt. You're not wasting anything. You're just not holding on to it anymore. And once that piece is settled, you stop hesitating on every item. You already know the outcome. It gives the whole process a direction instead of feeling like things are just disappearing. And when that resistance drops, you start to see the process for what it really is. Not just about the stuff, but about what you're learning through it. By the end of it, I started to see this more clearly. Letting go of these items didn't feel like losing them again. It actually felt like separating what truly matters from everything else that doesn't. Because the truth is, most of these things were never the memory itself. They were just objects that happened to exist around those moments. And if you keep everything, nothing really stands out anymore. So instead of trying to hold on to all of it, I focused on keeping only what genuinely meant something. The few pieces that felt right without forcing it. Everything else, if it was still usable, still in good condition, I let it go. Not because it didn't matter, but because I didn't need it to remember. That shift makes decluttering clearer. You're not choosing between keeping or losing. You're choosing what actually deserves a place in your life now. And once you see it that way, the process feels less like letting go and more like keeping what's real. There are a few small things that made this whole process a lot more manageable, especially when everything already feels heavy. First, don't mix categories. If you're opening a bag of clothes, just deal with clothes. Don't jump between random items. It keeps your brain from getting overwhelmed too quickly. Second, decide faster than you think you should. The longer you hold on to an item, the more your mind tries to create reasons to keep it. Your first reaction is usually the most honest one. Third, don't try to create meaning for everything. Not every item needs a story. Some things are just things, and it's okay to treat them that way. Fourth, set a stopping point before you even start. Not, I'll finish this, but something like, I'll go through one bag, or I'll do this for 20 minutes. That way, you don't push yourself until you're completely drained. Lastly, separate decision from emotion. You can feel something when you pick up an item and still choose to let it go. Those two things don't cancel each other out. These aren't complicated systems. They're just small boundaries that keep you moving without getting stuck. Because when the situation is already heavy, the simpler your process is, the easier it is to actually follow through. At the end of this, I didn't feel done. I didn't feel lighter in a dramatic way either. But I did feel clearer. Clearer about what actually matters, what I want to keep close, and what I don't need to carry anymore. Decluttering in this situation isn't about getting rid of things. It's about making space without losing what's real. You're not erasing anything. You're just choosing what stays with you and what can move on. If you're going through something like this, take it slower than you think you should. You don't need to finish it. You just need to not avoid it forever. And if you made it this far, I hope this gave you a way to start, or at least made it feel a little less heavy.